It's been one of those crazy days where I could use some wild pigs. And you might wonder, why do I need some wild pigs? That maybe I need to rush off to the grocery store and stock up on pork. But it's not that. I am Rachel Hedman, the executive director with Story Crossroads, and we were planning on the 5th annual Story Crossroads Festival to be this year, May 13th, 2020. But looking at the safety of our storytellers and our youth tellers, our board, our volunteers, the general public, we knew that it was best to postpone to May 12th, 2021. But it got me thinking about how there are so much that happens to us all the time where we might need some wild pigs. And I say that only because it makes me think of an Irish story. There was an old man and an old woman, and they lived together for so long that they also had their traditions of what they loved to eat every single night. And being that they were in Ireland, I'm sure you would agree that they would have to have potatoes, which they did. And they didn't just have potatoes, they had carrots and they had onions. Every day the old woman would take those potatoes and chop them up and take those peelings and put them in a rusty old bucket while that good food she put in the pot. And then she would take the carrots and she'd peel them and cut off the tops, and all those peelings and the tops she would put in the rusty bucket, but that good chopped up carrot she put in the pot. And then she had those onions and she peeled back those skins, and all those skins went into that rusty bucket, but then she chopped up that onion and added it to the pot. And oh, that stew was delicious. Because the old woman had worked so hard, it was time for the old man to do his job. He was to take all those peelings and things in that rusty bucket and go out the front door and lift it up over the wall that was around their home. He would do that every single night. But one night, as he went out, he heard the sound of hay. So he went on his tiptoes and he looked up and over, and there he saw some of the potato peels in the chimney of a little fairy home. And he saw some carrot peels, and it was wrapped around on some of the windows. And he saw some of those onion peels, and they were hanging off the fairy family itself. But what concerned the old man the worst was that there was a little baby fairy who was sick. And that father fairy looked at that old man and said, "You need to stop this. You can't just dump it over here. You must think of something, or my baby, my whole family, we could die." Well, the old man was not about to have that to happen. And so he went back to his wife, and the two of them talked for a long time, and they decided that they would not get rid of the peels at all. It would just stay in their home. And so every night, all those potato peels, all the tops and the peelings of the carrots, and all of those onion peels would stay in that rusty bucket. But as they stayed there, the stench, there was even a thickness to the air. You could even cut it with a knife. And it was awful, so awful. They knew they had to get rid of it any moment, but they couldn't. They even the next night tried to not even peel the potatoes or the carrots or the onions and just bit down in them. And the potato peels themselves weren't so bad, and maybe even the carrot peelings, but the onions, they just could not eat it. And then the two of them heard the sounds of, and they remembered. They had a back door. They went out their back door, and there was still the wall. The two of them looked up and over, and there were some wild pigs. The two of them looked at each other. They knew exactly what to do. And they took that very full, very heavy, rusty bucket full of those peelings and dumped it up and over that wall, and all those wild pigs were so happy. And so it is that we just need to find some wild pigs during this time when we have to make changes and adjust things. I tell you, it's awful for me to have to call people or email people or reach out to people and explain that we need to be on pause for a little bit. But at least deep down, it makes me feel better about what is going on. We already had expenses planning this 2020 festival. Luckily, a lot of our funders are able to do a one-year extension, some cannot. So we're working through that. But we're also looking to see how we can bring storytelling to you. We're hoping to have some online house concerts here and there. We might even have some 90-minute workshops that will be available. So just keep track of us. Follow us through Facebook, follow us on YouTube, follow us on our website. And if you look to see what we're doing and you love what we're doing, feel free to put in $1, $5, whatever you'd like to do. This is where you can donate it to at squareup.com/store/Story Crossroads. You can also go to our website, storycrossroads.org, and even on the home page, it says donate today, and you can do that. But during this time, think of all those performing artists out there who have to get a crazy call from someone like me that we have to postpone things, especially when they rely so much on it. So even if you don't give to Story Crossroads, please look up storytellers. And if you need any hints of names of all these wonderful storytellers, let me know. I may even be able to tell you if they're doing some virtual storytelling out there, and they may have ways to tip them. So we can do this. Let's find those wild pigs.